Welcome to today's press briefing. We have with us two speakers. They are from the Center for Health Protection Communicable Disease Branch Head, Dr. Chong Shuk Kwan, and Hospital Authority Chief Manager, Dr. Sarah Ho. The two doctors will give us information about the Hospital Authority and updates on number of cases. Dr. Ho, we have 2,834 patients staying in hospitals. 311 of them are new cases. Those staying in isolation facilities, there are 471 patients in isolation wards and 201 in second-tier isolation wards, 550 staying in North Lantau Hong Kong Infection Control Center. 213 patients are staying in AWE Treatment Center for COVID. 193 are new cases. Yesterday, we have reported 9 cases in a critical condition, 9 in a serious condition. Currently, those who are staying in hospital, there are 51 critical conditions and 55 serious conditions. Well, there are 13 patients in critical condition in ICU. Of death cases, we have reported 10 new cases. 8 males and 2 females aged between 72 and 99. There are 4 deceased who have not completed the 3 doses of vaccination. For these 10 deceased, they are elderly people. They suffer from chronic illnesses. After they have contracted COVID, their condition deteriorated rapidly and in the end passed away. 312 patients have recovered. 313 have been discharged. 9 patients are found to be COVID positive upon admission screening. 18 patients in the same ward are classified as close contacts. We have 185 new cases among staff members. 80 staff members have resumed duties. For Caritas Hospital, Medicine and Gerontology, a 90-year-old female patient on the 9th of September was found to be COVID positive upon admission screening. We traced the case. Another 2 females in the same ward were confirmed. 13 patients are close contacts. They have to be isolated. They have to be quarantined. 3 patients are staying in isolation ward. For one of them, because of their own illness, the situation is serious. The other 2 in a stable condition. The ward has stopped visitation. We have already conducted a thorough disinfection. Dr. Zhang. Good afternoon. We have local positive cases, 7,418 cases, 2,139 RAT cases, and 5,279 RAT cases. We have 161 imported cases, 141 are PCR positive cases, and 21 are RAT cases. Of the imported cases, 56 of them are identified at the airport. For those that are identified in quarantine hotel, there are 43. Those between the 4th day and the 7th day, 57 cases, and 5 cases identified between the 8th and the 10th day. For the 161 cases that come from 42 places, 4 places over 10 cases, UK 24, Philippines 17, US 16, and Indonesia 11. For the other 38 places, they have imported less than 10 cases. Dr. Ho mentioned about 10 death cases. Of the 5th wave, there are 9,617 cases. 6 residential care homes for elderly people and 2 homes for people with disability reported 11 cases of residents and 2 cases of staff members. Altogether, 80 residents have to be quarantined. Of these 8 homes, they are 景福護老中心 in Wan Chai, North District Hospital 江夏護理安老中心, Central and Western District 明愛欣翠園, 村灣老人中心有限公司、灣差日和居 and 2 homes for PWDs, TWGHS, 羊城紀念長期護老院 and TWGHS, 李作倫父子樂活希亭 in Sharton. For schools, today's Wednesday. 785 schools have reported 1,625 positive cases. That involved 1,414 students and 211 teaching staff members. For the 1,625 cases, they've come from 191 kindergarten and childcare home, 310 primary school, 269 secondary school, and 15 special schools. There are 542 schools with a number of cases. We have advised 38 schools to suspend 46 classes. So 8 schools have to suspend more than one class for 1 week. Previously, there were 8 schools. We have advised them to suspend a number of classes. There are 2 schools of interest. One is in Aberdeen, 工業學校. Classes are 1A, 2B, 5C. There are 22 students in 2A, 4 of them are positive. Class 1C, 20 students, 4 positive. Of the 5 classes, they live in a dormitory. There are 2 halls, Bosco and Savito. We found some confirmed cases, so there may be some transmission. So other schools in the same halls will have to be quarantined. They have already left the hall. There are 129 students that are staying in the dormitory. There are 20 rooms, 15 of them recorded positive cases. There are 195 students that are not staying in dormitories. The classes that are not suspended can continue. There is also one 香港教倫堂基督教宣道會鄭榮之中學 in class 4D, over 34 students, 6 positive cases. We saw more cases among students. Altogether, 39 students and 14 teachers are confirmed. There are 193 students and 87 teaching staff members. 16 classes out of 25 have recorded positive cases, so we advise the school to suspend operation. For sublineage, for samples taken on the 11th of September for L452R, the percentage is 79.3. BA4, BA5, we think that in the community for BA5, there are about 70%. BA4, about 9%. BA2, 12.1, about 4.6%. For BA2.2, about 16%. That's all for my report today. Now, the floor is open for question. Raise your hand, use the microphone we give you. Identify your media outlet.
The first one, this lady on the left. I'm from cable TV. I would like to ask about the Aberdeen Technical School. Well, there are 20 rooms in the hostel, and in 15 rooms you find confirmed cases. Now, have you looked into the situation? What kind of activities do they have in the dormitory? Do they have large-scale activities? That's why there's an outbreak. And I would like to ask CHP about the trend. Well, this is the second working day after the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. We haven't seen a sharp increase in caseload. So is there no rebound? Do you agree with the experts that the epidemic has already peaked? And for the ninth round designated quarantine hotels, you will allow confirmed cases to be isolated in the same hotel, but the staff of these hotels may not know how to deal with these confirmed cases. So will you help them, and how are you going to monitor these hotels so that they won't become a loophole? For the Aberdeen Technical School, there are two halls in the hostels, and there is a staircase between the two halls, and each hall has one toilet. We haven't found that they had held any major activities, but they would share washrooms, so maybe there's transmission there. As for the trend, you can all see that in the past few days, it seems that the caseload has dropped a bit. As for today's number, for RAT, or actually the RAT number is only reflecting what happened in the past few days, because we are still waiting for such RAT results to be verified by PCR. So today's figures does not reflect what happened yesterday and today. So we still have to monitor for a few more days. When we look at other indicators, we've seen that the epidemic is stabilizing. But for BA.5, we are still trying to find out whether it has peaked. Now it accounts for about 70%. Is this already the peak, or will it continue to rise? And after the long holiday, will there be a rebound? We'll still have to monitor. As for the ninth round of quarantine hotel, I think they're still looking at the relevant arrangement details, and the Bureau will make an announcement in due course. Next question, please. I'm from Now TV, and I would like to ask about confirmed cases being isolated in hotels. So, what will the risk be in the future? And if you move the confirmed cases to other rooms and other floors, will that involve significant risks? And also for the provisional vaccine pass, you are going to improve it. So when will you do that? And also, you told us that the number of people tested has dropped. So have you compared the present figures with the figures before the Mid-Autumn Festival? For the ninth round quarantine hotel scheme, I think they're still ironing out the details. Well, if the Health Bureau has more details, there will be announcements. As for the provisional vaccine pass, I understand that the senior government staff are looking at it. They will also make an announcement in due course. As for the testing center figures, the number of positive cases has increased a bit. Most of these figures come from RAT. Well, do people still take RAT tests during public holidays, or they would tend to do less? We do not know, so we will have to monitor the situation for a few more days. Next. I'm from AM 730. Just now, Dr. Zhang mentioned that the RAT numbers or cases would have to be reviewed by PCR before an announcement is made. So will there be a delay in the announcement of caseload? And you just said that there, in 8 schools, they have more than one class that have to be suspended. But how about the other classes? And you said that yesterday there were 23 cases in one school. Is it Sha Tin Chen Wing Chi College? Is it an accidental outbreak, or did they have any major activities? And for quarantine hotels, the infected customers would have to pay for their own rooms if they continue to stay in the hotel. So do you think this would be attractive to the infected guests? As for the RAT numbers, we have not changed our policy. Well, in the initial stage, we randomly check the RAT results, and then we checked all the RAT results, and now we are also doing random checks of such RAT results. So for the RAT results, we will have to wait for the PCR results before we make the announcement. We do not want to mix things up. As for schools that have to suspend more than 2 classes, when I look at the figures for these 8 schools, each school has to suspend 2 classes. And I do not see any school having more than 2 classes. As for the 23 students from the same school, I haven't checked the name of the school. As to what factors are behind the outbreak, we do not know yet. We are still investigating. Well, the total number of positive cases is a bit more than other schools, so we think that suspending class is a wise choice. As for the 9th round quarantine hotel scheme, I believe the Health Bureau will make an announcement in due course. The lady behind, next question. Please tell us your organization. I'm from HK01. I would like to ask about Caritas Medical Center. There's a confirmed case. Is any staff affected, and what's their vaccination record? And for today, confirmed cases from school is about 1,600, and yesterday was 1,600, and yesterday was 2,800. So what is the reason? What do you think the future trend will be? Let me talk about schools first. As for yesterday's figures, is the total figure that's been accumulating for 2 to 3 days. So on Tuesday was the first day of school, so we made the announcement yesterday. So for each day is about 400 or 500 cases. As for today's figure, is more normal, but it also include the cases that were reported to us yesterday afternoon. That was about 600, and this morning about 970 cases were reported to us. But some of them tested positive on the 13th or even 12th or 14th of September. And some of them were PCR results. So for this figure of 1,600 is the normal caseload that we have seen before. As for Caritas, well, the staff were in proper PPE. So none of our staff was classified as close contact. As for the patient's vaccination record, I have to go back and check. Next, the lady at the front.
The news, we want to ask for detailed breakdown data for people testing positive of COVID after they arrive in Hong Kong while they are in the first 3 days of hotel quarantine. Do we know how many people actually tested positive on day 1 or 2 or 3? And would that have any implication on further shortening the hotel quarantine times? And the second question we have is about cross-infections. Now that people can opt to stay in their original hotel, how will the government or the hotels manage this risk? And if more people wanted to stay, then the supply from the hotel, would the actual people still be sent to Penny's Bay or other government-run facilities? Thank you.
I don't have the detailed figures for day 1 to day 3 quarantine hotel confirmed cases, but I do have the figures for today. So for day 1 to day 3 in quarantine hotel, I think we have so among the cases, imported cases recorded today, we have 161. So 56 detected on arrival at the airport. And day 1 to day 3, we have 29 cases. So, so this is roughly the proportion. Yeah, but the proportion may vary from day to day. And also your second question is about the DQH implementation details. I don't have the details. I understand that our Health Bureau is still discussing the details and implementation plans, and also because it's a bit complicated. So I think if they have the details, they will announce.
下一位，左手邊尾二個行位女士。
Next, the lady at the back. I'm from Hong Kong Economic Times. I'd like to ask about the 10-year-old serious case. What's the current situation in relation to fatality? Well, from the prevalence of Omicron, now the fatality has dropped to 0.098%, which is similar to influenza. So is it time to see Omicron as an endemic? In relation to provisional vaccine passes, a standard requirement, is it going to be tightened to align with requirements of the mainland and Taiwan, or to be relaxed to align it with overseas arrivals? I understand that the Health Bureau is still working out the requirements of provisional vaccine passes. They will make an announcement when they have the details. You talk about the death rate after May in the fifth wave. After May in the fifth wave, the death rate as a whole compared to the time between December and May has dropped. Well, a majority of our population have been infected once, and we also have a higher vaccination rate for the first to the third doses. So the death rate from May onwards is lower, is about 0.1. From the 1st of May till now, we have about 400 death cases. 70% of them are over the age of 80. That amounts for 320 cases or so. So the overall death rate is 2%. If you compare those that are vaccinated and those unvaccinated among the elderly group, the death rate can be much higher by many times. We still think that vaccination is an effective way to prevent your condition from developing into a serious one or even fatality. For the 10-year-old in Princess Margaret Hospital, the current condition is still serious, but is on the mend. The boy can now eat by himself, and we're now reducing the oxygen supply. We will arrange for MRI for his brain. I would like to supplement. If we look at today's figure, or the figures for the previous days, those between the age of 6 and 11, there are 179,000 people that are unvaccinated. Those above the age of 80 are 116,000 unvaccinated people. So the risk of their case becoming serious is much higher. So I appeal to these age groups to be vaccinated as soon as possible. Last reporter to ask questions. I'm from Ming Pao. First of all, about the 10-year-old boy. Which variant has he contracted? For previous children cases in serious condition, have you conducted genome sequencing analysis to find out the sublineage? Any of them that's BA4 or BA5? I would like to ask about quarantine hotel arrangements. For those who are currently staying at designated quarantine hotels, and if they are positive, How many days do they have to wait before they are sent to Kai Tak or Penny's Bay? Will they be transported on the same day when they are tested positive? When the 9th round starts, if you are positive, then you will have to pay for hotel stay. If there is any delay, do they have to wait? Do they have to pay for those days? For the Aberdeen Technical School, how many confirmed cases among students are there so far? For the Aberdeen Technical School, the latest figure in the past week, there are 30 students from the same school. 26 stay in the dormitory. In relation to quarantine hotel and the details, that is, in relation to the 9th round, we'll have to wait for the Health Bureau to make the announcement. I understand that if a person is COVID positive staying in a hotel, they will be arranged for quarantine as soon as possible. For children cases, we will conduct genome sequencing analysis, but we're still pending information. That's the end of the press briefing. Thank you.